Let me thank the press for being here. Y'all play a vital role of bringing our community together. We're in Kingwood today, but all Houstonians are focused on what's best for Kingwood in the city of Houston. We're not threatened in central Houston or most parts of Houston, but certainly if any parts of Houston like Kingwood is facing challenges, that's where we want to be. And I ask all Houstonians to keep Kingwood and surrounding areas in their prayers, open up their homes, their goodwill, and let's let Houston see the best of Houston during these very challenging times. I'm very pleased to give a report, and I'm accompanied by County Commissioner Ramsey, who serves this area, so ably reaching out to me this morning to share resources, information, and collaboration along with our state representative Cunningham, our city council Flickinger. This is the way it's supposed to work, that collaboration. I've heard from the governor today. Governor Abbott called to offer any assistance. We've been in touch with the emergency center of the state of Texas, NIM-KID. I want Houstonians to know that everyone is in place. Our first responders are here. You can see the resources and equipment that is prepared for peak levels of the east and west forks of the San Jacinto. We've been in contact with the San Jacinto River Authority. They're doing the very best they can to release the needed water from Lake Conroe, but no more than necessary to respect the safety and welfare of Kingwood. So there again, it's communication. And I'm communicating through the press this afternoon with Houstonians to be on alert. Certainly the Kingwood area. You've been through this before. It's unfortunate, but we know what we have to do. Be alert. Evacuate if at all possible if you're in a low-lying area. Go to safety. Do not wait till it's too late and then you endanger our first responders. So leave this afternoon. The peak, as we will hear from our authorities, the East Fork of the San Jacinto will peak tonight between 10 and 11. Tomorrow, the West Fork from 3 to 5. And all of this is very fluid, of course, but this is our best estimate. So we have time to relocate. We have shelters in place. We have Metro here to furnish transportation. We're all in this together. With that said, thank all of our first responders. We have HPD, we have our Chief Pena, Chief Satterwhite, collaboration. I want to thank the fire department for allowing us to gather in this glamorous location. And I say that not bragging on the facility. If you want to really do a story someday, I don't want to digress from our storm, but you ought to check out the facilities that we expect our first responders to work out of. With that said, let's get back to the business at hand. I want to yield to Commissioner Ramsey. Thank you for the county cooperation, and you're reaching out. You're serving your precinct very ably, and thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor has just said, the next 24 hours it's important. We can get people out, and in the next 10 hours are important. But the East Fork of the San Jacinto River is going to peak before midnight tonight. People that are east, that are west of 2100 on the San Jacinto River need to get out now, because that peak, the current level of the water is 74 feet. It's going to go up another 3 feet before midnight tonight, and it'll peak. We've evacuated roughly 50 people, and that's all of us, Houston PD, Sheriff's Office, the county, the city. Again, as the Mayor said, all working together to try to get people out of harm's way. But it really does need to start. It really does need to start now. The West Fork, which, by the way, just a bit of information, every drop of water that falls north of Harris County in Montgomery County, Walker County, Liberty County is going to come through Precinct 3, as in this location. All of it ends up in Kingwood. All of it ends up in Lake Houston. So with the West Fork and the East Fork, all of that is draining down through this area. This is an important drainage point for the entire area, the entire region. That's why we're focused on this now. We need to focus on it, I think, after it gets dried and then the weather improves. But I think the main point tonight is to get people out immediately, because we've got airboats, we've got rescue facilities, but it is extremely difficult at 11 o'clock at night. It's dark. You have children, you have animals, you have friends, you have neighbors. That makes it 10 times as hard. So we've got resources set up, shelters set up, a way to get people away from harm's way right now. But now is the time to get off the river and evacuate.
Can you give some specific street names just for people so they know? I know you just gave a general area, but just some street names.
Well, if you start, I'm going to do subdivisions. If you start generally on the north, on the east fork of the San Jacinto River, and if you look at some of those, Idlewild and Idle Glen subdivision, the Northwood Country Estates, River Terrace, Cypress Point, the Commons. There's a few areas in the Commons that could possibly flood. So that's on the San Jacinto Riverside, and then of course southern portion of Kingwood. If you're in the southern portion of Kingwood, you need to pay attention to where you are. This storm is only second to.
I think you had it best when you said everything west of 2100. That's the street name you're looking for, is 2100.
Yeah, that'd be the simplest thing to do. I agree with you, Councilmember.
Thank you.
In the Huffman area, for sure.
I mean, we had water in the parking lot at the community center in Huffman. We had to move down to Crosby. So this, we've suffered with a significant rainfall event, and we've got the resources to respond. We need the public's help in getting folks out of town.
And the citizens should be aware, just because we'll have clear skies, that does not mean we're not under danger. The water's coming out of Limestone, Polk, and Montgomery County. So yesterday we were concerned in stationing equipment, and we had a clear sky. So I think we have to guard against any false impression that we have been cleared. The water is coming this way. And as the commissioner said, we have time to prepare as we talk now, but it will be just a few hours from now where it'll be impassable. State Representative?
Just a few things. Thank you, Mayor. Charles Cunningham, State Representative, District 127, and I have all the northeast part of Harris County. What the Mayor and the Commissioner has said, we want to make sure we adhere to that. I want to just touch on something moving forward in the future. It is hard to have 4 months of rain in about a week's time. And so I want to first tip my hat off to the San Jacinto River Authority, but I will say that we're going to have to look and make sure that we're still following our protocols, because there is some questions to be answered. But I want to thank the Mayor, I want to thank the Commissioner, I want to thank my Councilman, Fred Flickinger. But moving forward, we just want to make sure, because once again, we know we can't control Mother Nature, but it's just, we've been down this road before. It's just hard to have 4 months of rain in a week's time. We want to make sure those protocols that we have in place, that we're adhering to them. Mayor, give it back to you.
Thank you. And I just thought of something that I want to emphasize. Thank you, Representative, is the family pets. As you evacuate, don't forget our animal welfare friends. Also, dangerous snakes. I was on the shores yesterday of rising water, saw 2 water moccasins myself. So there's just a lot of things we have to consider, and we have to look out for each other. But for sure, don't forget, in the panic of the moment, that your animal welfare is something to consider. And also, as I mentioned, dangerous snakes and wildlife as it moves to dry land. Councilman Flickinger, you're a resident of Kingwood and probably the most knowledgeable one among us, if you'd like to address your concerns.
Very briefly, just like to give a little context to it. Somebody brought up Harvey yesterday. The crest on the East Fork is about 3 to 4 feet less than Harvey. The crest on the West Fork, did I get that backwards? The East Fork is going to be 3 to 4 feet less than Harvey. The West Fork, 6 to 7 feet less. So it's not a Harvey event, but it's a big deal. So that's where we're at.
Very good. Obviously, our first responders are the ones we depend on that put their lives at risk. And Chief Pena, I know you're watching the bridges in the areas, the railroad crossings, and anything else you'd like to amplify.
Yes, sir. First of all, thank you, Mayor, thank you and thank Commissioner Ramsey, Representative Cunningham, Councilmember Flickinger for elevating the urgency and communicating the risk. It's coming. The Mayor mentioned it. It's coming. Don't let the break in the weather give you a false sense of security. But we should take advantage of this break in the weather to do the right thing. If you live in a flood-prone area near rivers and tributaries, you run the high risk of flooding within the next 24 to 48 hours. So if you can get out now while there's still daylight, you can still do so safely. Evacuate yourself if you have a place to go. Take your pets. Do so in a responsible way. We have our first responders, police officers, firefighters. We have our special operations teams here. We have Chief Nielsen, who's running the show here for the fire department over these next 24 hours. They're all prepared to rescue and evacuate as needed, but there's no sense in putting them or yourselves in any danger. If you can evacuate right now, take the opportunity. It's coming. It's going to get dangerous. It's going to get risky. The water is going to rise to certain levels. And again, right now is the time to, if you haven't done so already, make the preparations. If you can evacuate, do so safely. But I want to give thanks to the police officers and the firefighters who are on scene, staged, and ready to deploy as needed. Thanks,
Very
Mayor.
good, very good. I'm standing here thinking of things that should be addressed. Thank you, Chief. I want those that live in vulnerable areas that are trying to decide whether to leave or not. The anxiety, I understand it. One anxiety would be the security of their homes and their possessions as they leave. I've got Chief Satterwhite's here. HPD has the resources. If you leave, there will be patrol, there will be active security in your community. So do not allow your property possessions to keep you at home or put you at risk. HPD, area collaboration with our constables, every level, DPS, others will be securing our neighborhood. Chief Satterwhite, would you like to reinforce how hands-on HPD is during this crisis?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner, State Rep, and Council Member, and everybody here. Like Chief Pena, I really do want to thank the first responders right here, between fire and police. I also want to thank some of our civilians. Our Houston Public Works are out here. We all stand ready to respond and to help you, but this is where the public can help us. First of all, heed these warnings. If you're in an area that might flood, better to move now while it's safe and go to high ground, stay with friends, stay with family, and not worry about this. We are out here and we will do everything we can to protect your property. We will still come to you, but it's going to get a lot harder as the water continues to go up. Yes, we have boats. We have high water rescue trucks between us and HFD. We have all those resources here. But there can come a time when we simply just can't get there. We do not want to face that because we will try everything we can to get to you. That's what we will do in law enforcement and in fire as first responders. But I'm asking you not to put us in that position if you can avoid it. Also, for others, just if you don't have to go on the road after it gets dark, we are asking that you not go on the road. Because as water rises and covers roads, you cannot tell the depth, you cannot tell where the ditches are. If you go out on the road, you might end up in a place at a low spot and end up in the ditch or first, and your lives can be at danger. So don't do those things. You help us out by being, our partner in this and making good decisions now so that all of us get through this. Yes, we've been through this before in Kingwood, in this area and throughout the city, and we have a great history of getting through that. But even every time we still have some challenges, I want to avoid those, mitigate those, reduce those as much as possible. So with that, I yield back to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. I like to listen to residents. Bob, you're taking pictures, but you have lived through this and represent the greater Kingwood community with your blog to prevent flooding. I'll be glad to yield to you to put a face on this challenge.
I've been writing so many hours each day, I haven't shaved for 3 days.
Well, we really appreciate you. You play a special role in communicating with the community. With that said, I think we've covered it. The The stress we want to make is be prepared, evacuate if possibly, as others have said, so I won't be redundant except to let you know, let Houstonians know that all hands are on deck. We are prepared, but you've got to play your role. And the greater Houston community needs to open up their homes, businesses, their faith communities to those looking for shelter and assistance, and certainly prayer works in this instance. So I'd like to finish this by offering open it up to questions and say let's go to work.
Mayor, you mentioned something about shelters. Where are those open in the area?
The Green Church, I know, Tom, it's at 610 and 45.
Right.
The Red Cross is actually looking for places as we
The
talk.
process is, we will get you to the Crosby Community Center. That's a staging area.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, the Red Cross will take you to any number of places. They're getting those lined out. They are lined out. But the staging area is the Crosby Community Center. And a lot of people go there, and maybe they're getting even picked up there. So they don't have to go to a shelter. But it is a staging area for people to either go to a shelter or be picked up by relatives.
And you guys also mentioned a little bit about how Metro is going to offer assistance. What will that assistance look like?
I'm sorry, what?
You said something about how Metro is going to be offering.
Yeah, they're here in the parking lot prepared to take you, and there's numerous sites. The Philippians New Faith Missionary Baptist Church on Angus Street, 7858 Angus Street in Houston. The Greenhouse International Church is the one I was referencing, 200 West Greens Road, will open at 7 p.m. tonight, and the Leon Grayson Church of Christ is open now. It's at 13828 Corpus Christi Street in Houston. And I know the Red Cross is seeking other shelters as we talk. They're monitoring the demand, but there will not be a shortage of shelters or transportation. As I said, Metro's in the location as we talk.
And we're also hearing reports of a broken floodgate over at Lake Houston. How is that impacting the amount of water that's leaving the lake?
The what?
About 2%.
2%?
Yeah.
2% more?
No, yeah, it would have been 2% more. That's currently up over 100,000 CFS, and that's probably about a 2%, 2,000 gallon CFS. So it was a minimal impact.
And these shelters are making provisions for pets. See. I yield.
Bueno, mire, estamos aquí para comunicar, estamos con el alcalde Whitmire, estamos con el comisionado Ramsey, el representante Cunningham y el concejal Flickinger aquí para comunicar que las lluvias van a continuar, las inundaciones van a pasar siguiendo esta noche y continuando las siguientes 24 horas. Lo que estamos recomendando seriamente es que si pueden evacuar, si viven en lugares que están cerca de los ríos, corren el riesgo de inundación en sus casas. Recomendamos que si pueden evacuar, que lo hagan ahorita que hay tiempo, ahorita que hay una quiebra en la lluvia. Y hay albergues donde nosotros podemos llevarlos a ustedes y a sus mascotas para que estén en un lugar seguro, porque estamos aquí, el Departamento de Bomberos, el Departamento de Policía, los otros departamentos de la ciudad, listos para responder, pero no hay caso de responder si uno puede evacuar ahorita, que hay tiempo, que la lluvia ha parado y que tengan oportunidad de hacerlo seguramente. ¿Sí? Okay.
If nothing else, I want to emphasize that Kingwood is the priority of every level of government as we stand here before you today. The collaboration is something that's been needed. It's being demonstrated today, and so across Houston, we're focusing on the Kingwood area. Sometimes Kingwood feels like it's been overlooked or forgotten. Not the case. We're going to focus our resources and personnel here, and we'll do whatever's necessary to respond to some dangerous circumstances. Thank y'all for being here.